What's up, everyone? So we just got back. We took the Musjunk to the track for the very first time for shakedown runs yesterday. Got it back, so I figured I'd make a little video letting you know how that went and stuff, and kind of give you a background on the car. So this is a car long time ago, probably 6 years ago. I was on Facebook Marketplace and I found a 4.8 LS motor for $200, right? It's an unknown mileage, blah blah blah. But so talked to a buddy of mine that was also looking for one, and we went in half. So we each threw in $100, went and picked up this motor, and had the motor for like a year. And I was just using it for a spare in case I blew up the motor in the Falcon, and he was possibly going to put it in a Jeep or something at one time. But then Facebook, through a friend actually, we stumbled upon this coupe and got it for $500. It was just a shell, nothing, no interior, nothing. The roof was actually dented in from the hood open and smashed the roof. So then we got the car and messed with it a little bit, and then we decided we were going to go get a new roof. So tracked down a roof, went out to Pastor Pony Parts in Salisbury, North Carolina, and went out there and cut the roof off of another coupe, and then we welded this one on, and then I started putting in the motor. And so it's a 4.8 LS. It's twin turbos, so it just got some eBay turbos, some 57 millimeter turbos, and then it's got a turbo 400. It's actually the turbo 400 out of the Falcon. So I built I built two transmissions in my life, one for the Falcon and one for this, and the one for this didn't work. So after I wrecked the Falcon, went ahead and took the Falcon's transmission and put in this, and so that's why we decided to go to the track with it this week, was just to see what it could do. So I've got some footage from that, and I've got some of the graphs, the run data that we'll go through, and thanks for watching and follow along. So it's just a typical junkyard 4.8. It does have twin 57 millimeter turbos from eBay, tucked up in the fenders here. Got a homemade accessory belt drive system, which is actually kind of cool. It worked. It didn't throw the belt at the drag strip, and it's got some dual fan setup out of the junkyard also, and it's got actually a pretty nice radiator in it. No overheating problems while we were at the track. And it's got a AJE LS cross member in it with the motor mounts, and it's got also the same thing for the turbo 400 transmission mount is an AJE. And we were actually able to fit the stock hood, so it's kind of cool. The stock hood will fit on it, so it fits. All I had to do is trim this piece right here, and then I had to trim some of the bracing out of the stock hood. So I'll show you. So really want the car to look stock when it's all finished, and we'll give you some interior footage here. So as I was saying, the interior is completely gutted except for the door panels. There's nothing. You can see it's all empty. It does have a 6-point roll bar in it, which is nice, and I made a custom race dash for it. You know, hit me up in the comments if you'd like me to make one for you. Maybe I can get a limited run made if there's enough interest. Make 10 or 20 of them. But anyway, that's just holding the wide band and the oil pressure sensor. That's all we got. And then the two switches is one's for the electric fans and one's for the ignition on the Microsquirt, because it's just running off Microsquirt, and very simple and easy, and it works well. So we'll look at some data logs from the runs last night, and we'll go over some of the issues we had at the track too, because like I said, this car was put together and then it's never been drove. Yesterday me and my buddy scrambled to tie up a few loose ends. Had to do, well, we tried to get them all tied up before we went to the drag strip, but we discovered a few more once we got there. But like the coil packs weren't mounted, the radiator wasn't fully mounted. Didn't have a catch can on it, so we got that put on it. Had to drain the antifreeze out on it because the car stays outside, so I had to have antifreeze in it over the winter. Drained all that out, just filled it up with water. So these are the slicks I had on the Falcon back when I was running it, but after I wrecked it, I took them off and put them on the weld wheels for the Musjunk. And first thing we noticed when we got to the drag strip, actually my wife noticed it before we got to the drag strip, and I didn't pay her no mind, and that backfired. But once we got off the trailer, we realized how close that was right there, and it was actually much closer. So we actually did some redneck fender rolling at the drag strip, which I'll show you a video of it right after this. It's pretty funny. And but we rolled both sides, and we got the footage. And the car, for suspension wise, it's really just some old school Southside machine lift bars, and just some stock replacement shocks, and it has some kind of springs in it. I don't know what they are, but they're not stock. And then we got a transmission cooler and just an AIM 380 pump, which on the third run I started having issues with the fuel, so I got to pull this apart and see if the fuel filter's clogged or what, because it was definitely acting strange. And also got to get some of this stuff tied up a lot better. So this is the first look at the car after getting back from the drag strip. So you can see there's a lot of stuff, a lot of wiring back here that needs to be tidied up, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're at Gallant Motorsports Park today, and it's hot, but I got a wild hair and decided I was going to get Musjunk out, which I'll give you a rundown on the car later. But me and my buddy got it together today. Had a few little things we needed to finish. We got all the little things tied up, and now we're out here. It's like a heat index of 102, but we're going to try to get a few passes in, and hopefully it'll do all right. Thanks for watching. This was the very first drive on the car to test the brakes and the steering and stuff, and we found a few problems. The first problem was the rear slicks were too close to the rear fender, so we had to do some redneck fender rolling with a hammer handle. And also the alternator wasn't charging, and we had an oil leak we had to fix. We managed to get everything fixed, and then we rolled up to the lines to make the first shakedown pass on the car. Alright, here's the data log from the very first run. This is like a shakedown run. You can see I brought it up on foot brake right here, and then we launched, went wide open, held it wide open for about 5 seconds, and it made right at 4.8 pounds of boost is where it maxed out. So made, which is good. We had no idea what kind of boost it was going to make, so I'm glad it only made 4.8 pounds. And then held it for 5 seconds, then got out of it, and you can see I was kind of accelerating, trying to get to the end of the track because it was slow. It ran like a 1028 at 52 miles an hour after I got out of it. But this gave us a good starting point. So we went from here and we cranked down the manual boost controller a little bit. And then we went up and made our second run, and we'll talk about that one in a second. All right. So after our first run, we looked over the data log, actually added some fuel because we noticed it was running a little lean on the first run. And we cranked the manual boost controller down quite a bit. And still, like I said, this is only second pass on the car. So we're still trying to figure out what it wants. And you can see here, I actually used the anti-lag. So when I was on the line, I was on the anti-lag. That's why it's bouncing around right here. Didn't realize this. So I had this set too low, but I really didn't realize it because we launched and we take off, and it started making boost feeling good. Got up to 6.3 pounds of boost, and felt decent, but then it just kind of died and went away. I stayed in it just because the air fuel was looking okay. So I stayed in it the whole run, and this was the best pass of the day, even though we only had a little bit of boost in first gear. Ended up running at 853 and 838 actually. Ran at 838 uh, on this run with no boost, and ended up going back to the pits after this run and found that we had popped a coupler off. So we got that put back on, and then we went up and made our third pass. And here's the data log from our third pass, which we turned the boost controller in a little bit more and added a little bit more fuel also to be safe. And, we were scrambling around finding the coupler and trying to get that fixed, that I didn't even check on why we're only, the anti-lag launch control was only set at 2,000 RPMs. It's set on 2,200. Should have had it set on 3,000. So it would have made a lot more boost coming off the line. But
or got into boost a lot sooner instead of being so lazy. And so we got that fixed now in the tune, but we didn't make another run after this. And I got out of this one because if you look down here at my air fuel, so it wasn't reading right. It was reading 12, then 14, 12, 14, 12, 14. And I just didn't want to take on chance on breaking the car with it not running right. So I just got out of it. I was only in the car on the gas for like 3 seconds and then just aborted the run. It's just not worth hurting the car. So we got to figure out the whole wideband issue, if it's an exhaust leak or if it's the fuel pump started making some weird sounds after the first run. So I don't know if maybe the fuel filter's clogged because it's an all new setup. I mean, flushed all the lines and all that stuff before, but still could possibly be a fuel filter. So I got to drain all the fuel out of the fuel cell, check the fuel filter, check the fuel pump, and then I'm also going to check the wideband and the exhaust, the side of the exhaust it's in, to make sure there's no exhaust leaks right there, to try to figure out why it's reading so erratic. Because if you look at the other data logs, it's a pretty erratic too. It wasn't nearly as bad in the second one as it was this third one, but when I looked down up at the dash and saw it reading, which this says 14.6, I was seeing 15 on the one in the car, so that's why I just got out of it right here. Uh, Not sure what's going on, but that was it. And so now we'll get these problems figured out and hopefully get back to the track later this year sometime with it. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want to see some more Musjunk content. All right, thanks.